Everyone faces moments when someone else's words or actions stir up frustration or anger. It's a common experience, feeling bothered or upset because of what others do. But what if you could change that? What if you could go through your day without letting anyone else control your emotions or steal your peace? This is not about ignoring problems or pretending everything is fine. It's about learning practical ways to stay calm and strong, no matter what comes your way. This guide will walk you through clear, easy steps to help you stop reacting the way you always have. You'll discover how to take control of your first thoughts, build calm through breathing and awareness, and protect your peace with personal boundaries. You'll learn why expecting less from others actually frees your mind, and how owning your feelings every day can bring real freedom. These are tools you can start using right now to feel more steady, confident, and in charge of your life. By understanding and practicing these ideas, you'll find yourself reacting less to negativity and more to what truly matters. You'll grow patience, gain focus, and even learn how to forgive quickly without needing an apology. This isn't just about stopping anger. It's about building a life where your peace is your greatest strength. If you want to stop being bothered by others and start living with calm and clarity, keep reading. The steps ahead are designed to help you take charge of your emotions and create a life where you decide how you feel, no matter what's happening around you. This is your chance to build daily habits that support your inner strength and long-term happiness. Chapter 1. Master your reactions by controlling your first thought. There is a moment before every reaction, a space so small that most people never notice it. It's the gap between what happens and how we respond. That moment is where your life can change, because inside that space is your power to choose. When you learn to control your first thought before the emotion takes over, before the words come out, before the damage is done, you gain a level of strength most people never even reach for. You stop being controlled by the world around you and begin living on your terms. You no longer give away your peace to every difficult person or frustrating situation. You become calm, grounded, and free. Most people believe that anger just happens. They think it's automatic, like a reflex. Someone cuts them off in traffic. They get mad. Someone says something rude. They feel insulted. Their child disobeys. They lose their temper. But that's not how it works. Anger is not automatic. It's not built in. It's trained. It's a habit. And the first thought you allow into your mind is what shapes it. If your first thought is defensive, critical, or fearful, it lights the match. But if your first thought is calm, clear, and controlled, the fire never starts. You stay in charge. You don't need to stop feeling things. You don't need to be emotionless. You need to be the one who decides what happens next. That's what controlling your first thought means. It means owning the beginning of every emotional experience. It means noticing what's happening in your mind before your mouth or your body takes over. That skill can save relationships. It can protect your health. It can give you peace in situations that used to feel unbearable. And most importantly, it can give you power over yourself. Think about the last time you got angry. What actually made you angry? Was it the words someone used, or was it what you thought those words meant? Was it the situation itself, or what you believed it said about you? Anger doesn't come from outside. It begins in the interpretation. It begins in that first thought. That's why two people can face the same challenge. One gets angry and reacts. The other stays calm and handles it. The difference isn't in what happened. The difference isn't in what happened. The difference is in what they told themselves about it. That inner conversation determines everything. The truth is, most of us have never trained ourselves to stop and observe that first thought. We've been taught to respond quickly, to speak our mind, to stand up for ourselves, to defend our pride. But pride is not power. Pride is insecurity in disguise. Real power is quiet. It's patient, it pauses, it sees clearly, and it always starts with awareness. If you want to master your reactions, you have to begin by mastering your awareness of that first internal response. You have to start noticing what you tell yourself when something bothers you. At first, this will feel unnatural. You might catch the thought after you've already reacted. That's okay. The point is not to be perfect. The point is to start observing, and over time, as you keep paying attention, that space between trigger and response will start to grow. You'll find yourself noticing your irritation before it becomes anger. You'll feel the urge to argue but choose not to. You'll catch yourself thinking something negative, and instead of believing it, you'll challenge it. That's when the real shift happens. Not because the world got easier, but because you got stronger. This kind of control doesn't come from pretending you're fine or pushing down your feelings. It comes from developing the discipline to question your initial thought. For example, someone cuts you off in traffic. Your first thought might be, "What a jerk." That thought leads to anger. But what if you paused and asked, "Do I know what's happening in their life?" What if you said, "That was dangerous, but I'm safe and I'm moving on"? That's not weakness. That's control. That's power. You're not letting someone else's bad decision dictate your state of mind. You're protecting your peace. Another example, a coworker makes a comment that feels disrespectful. Your first thought is, "They don't respect me." Now you're angry. But pause, ask yourself, is this about me or about them? Maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe they're insecure. Maybe they weren't even aware of how it came across. Either way, you don't need to take it personally. You don't need to react. You can choose to stay composed, speak with clarity if needed, or simply walk away. The moment you shift your first thought, your entire emotional experience changes. When you build this habit consistently, your life starts to feel lighter. Things that used to ruin your day no longer touch you. People who once upset you lose their power, not because the world got softer, but because your mind got sharper. You trained it to lead instead of follow, to pause instead of explode, to ask instead of assume, and with every small win, your emotional strength grows. You become the kind of person who responds with wisdom instead of rage, with calm instead of chaos. That's the kind of person people respect, admire, and trust. Controlling your first thought also means taking responsibility. You can't blame others for your emotions if you're the one feeding them. It's easy to say, "They made me mad." But the truth is, no one can make you feel anything without your permission. Emotions are not created by events. They're created by your beliefs about those events. If you change what you believe, you change what you feel. So instead of asking, "Why did they say that to me?" start asking, "Why did I let that affect me?" That shift will put you in control of your emotional life. You might think this sounds exhausting. Always thinking about your thoughts, always watching your mind, but it's not exhausting. What's exhausting is being dragged by your emotions all day. What's exhausting is letting every small irritation control your mood. What's exhausting is losing your peace over things that don't deserve it. Mental discipline doesn't drain you, it frees you. It gives you energy, focus, and inner calm. Because now, instead of reacting to everything, you're choosing what deserves your attention and what doesn't. And here's something important. This doesn't make you passive. It doesn't mean you let people walk all over you. It means you choose how and when to act with intention. You don't explode, you respond. You don't avoid, you face things with clarity. You're not emotionally numb. You're emotionally disciplined. That's what real strength looks like. People who can't control their reactions are not strong. They're fragile. Their emotions own them. But people who control their thoughts, their words, and their actions, Those people are unshakable. So how do you start? The first step is simple but powerful. Awareness. Start noticing your triggers. Pay attention to the people, situations, or topics that tend to make you reactive. Keep a journal if you have to. Write down what happened, what you thought, and how you responded. Then imagine how you could have thought differently. Not to shame yourself, but to train your mind. Over time, this exercise rewires your reactions. You stop being surprised by your emotions and start becoming the one who shapes them. The next step is to pause. When you feel that heat rising, pause, take one deep breath. Count to 3. Ask yourself, what's my first thought right now? Don't act. Don't speak. Just watch, and then challenge it. Ask, is this true? Is this helpful? Is this who I want to be? That small pause is where transformation happens. It's not about being cold. It's about being clear, and in that clarity, you find peace. You also need to set clear intentions for who you want to be. Every morning remind yourself, today I will control my reactions. Today I will choose calm. Today I will not give away my peace. Say it out loud. Write it down. Keep it visible. When your mind knows what you're aiming for, it's easier to follow through. You're training it, like a muscle. And just like any muscle, the more you use it, the stronger it gets. Remember that growth takes time. You won't master this overnight. But every time you control your first thought, even once, you build strength. And that strength multiplies. One calm response becomes 2, then 10, then a lifestyle. Eventually, people around you will notice. They'll say, "You're different. You don't get worked up like you used to." That's not luck. That's practice. That's discipline. That's power. You don't need to fix the world to find peace. You just need to lead your mind. Your peace doesn't depend on other people changing. It depends on you mastering your first response. Because in the end, the only thing you truly control is yourself, and that's enough. When you control your first thought, you control your life. So every day, begin again. Notice what you feel. Own your reaction. Challenge your thoughts. Choose your peace. Let nothing steal your calm. Because you are not here to be ruled by anger. You are here to live with clarity, to lead with wisdom, and to walk through life with quiet strength. And it all begins with that first thought. Control it, and everything changes. Chapter 2. Build daily calm through simple breathing and awareness. Most people live their lives in a constant state of tension. Their minds are full, their shoulders tight, their breathing shallow, and their hearts heavy. They're always rushing, always thinking ahead, always bracing for what might go wrong. And because of that, they rarely feel calm. They go through entire days, sometimes weeks, without ever pausing to feel truly grounded. But the truth is, calm isn't found in changing your life, it's found in changing how you move through it. You don't need more time, fewer problems, or better circumstances to feel peace. You need to return to yourself, and that begins with one breath. Breathing is the one thing that never leaves you. It's always available, always steady, and always honest. It's your anchor in the chaos. The way you breathe reflects the way you live. Fast and shallow breathing usually means you're stuck in anxiety or stress. Long, deep, steady breaths signal clarity and presence. Most people never pay attention to how they breathe. They let it run in the background, unaware of the power it holds. But once you start noticing your breath, you start changing your experience of life. You begin to realize that peace isn't something you chase. It's something you access. The breath brings you back to now, right now, not tomorrow, not yesterday, not the story in your head. When you slow your breath, you slow your thoughts. When you deepen your breath, you strengthen your body. When you follow your breath, you stop being pulled in every direction. And the best part is, it takes no equipment, no cost, no special training. Just the willingness to pause and pay attention, that's all. And from that small pause comes an entirely different way of living. Start your day with stillness, not with screens. Before you look at your phone, before you step into your routine, sit quietly and take 10 slow breaths. Close your eyes if you want to. Feel each inhale fill your body. Feel each exhale release tension. Don't try to fix your thoughts, just notice them come and go. With each breath, you're training your mind to follow, not fight. You're reminding your body that it's safe. You're building the foundation for a calm day, not a reactive one. And if you make this a habit, even just 5 minutes, you'll notice your nervous system shifting. You'll feel less scattered and more in control, no matter what the day brings. Awareness grows where attention goes. When you give your full focus to your breath, you create a break in the pattern of overthinking. You interrupt the automatic cycle of stress. Most stress comes not from what's happening, but from the mental noise we attach to it. A small delay becomes a crisis. A short comment becomes an insult. A moment of discomfort becomes an emotional storm. But when you pause and breathe, you give your brain time to reset. You create space between stimulus and reaction, and that space is where clarity lives. You don't need to meditate in silence for an hour every day to benefit. You can breathe mindfully while walking. You can breathe deeply while waiting in line. You can slow your breath before responding to an email or a difficult conversation. These small pauses create powerful results. They train your mind to move with purpose instead of panic. They give you the power to choose calm, even when things feel out of your hands. Breathing and awareness aren't separate from your life. They are how you live more fully in every part of it. Awareness is not about overthinking. It's about observing without judgment. It means paying attention to what's happening in your body and your mind without needing to control or fix it. Most people avoid awareness because they're afraid of what they'll feel. They stay busy, distracted, overstimulated, anything to avoid stillness. But it's in that stillness that healing begins. When you sit with yourself, even for a few minutes, you start to see the patterns. You start to understand what triggers you. You start to feel where you hold stress in your body. And from there you can begin to shift it, not with force, but with attention. You don't calm your life by controlling everything around you. You calm your life by calming the way you experience it. And your breath is your entry point into that change. When you feel overwhelmed, notice your breath. When you feel irritated, return to your breath. When you feel lost in thought, come back to your breath. That repetition over time rewires your nervous system. It tells your brain, we are safe. We don't need to rush. We don't need to fight. And with that signal, the entire body softens. Awareness also allows you to catch stress before it grows. When you're aware, you can feel your shoulders start to tense. You can sense your jaw tightening. You notice when your thoughts speed up. That noticing is powerful, because now, instead of reacting, you have a choice. You can pause, you can breathe, you can redirect your attention, and just like that, the storm passes before it ever begins. So many people think peace is something they'll find once everything is settled, but real peace is built inside the storm. It's built in the way you breathe through difficulty, in the way you stay aware when it would be easier to check out, in the way you respond to stress with calm instead of chaos. That peace isn't a reward you earn, it's a discipline you practice, and you practice it one breath at a time. You also become more present, and presence changes everything. When you're present, you listen better, you respond more wisely, You enjoy your food. You feel the warmth of the sun. You hear the tone behind someone's words. You see things clearly. Instead of reacting from old habits, awareness pulls you out of your past and future and plants you where life actually happens in the now. The more you breathe consciously, the more you take back control of your emotional life. You start to notice that you don't need to be so quick to react. You don't need to raise your voice. You don't need to speed through the day just to feel productive. You begin to realize that calm isn't weakness. It's strength. It's the strength to slow down when the world is rushing. The strength to stay grounded when emotions run high. The strength to listen, to feel, and to choose. Your breathing can guide you through the most stressful moments of your life. In arguments, in grief, in pressure, in uncertainty. The breath is always there, reminding you that you are more than your thoughts and your emotions. You are the one who observes. You are the one who chooses. And the more you breathe with awareness, the more you reclaim that role. You don't need to add more complexity to your life. You don't need to read more, do more, or achieve more to feel peaceful. You need to simplify, to return to the basics. Your breath, your body, your presence. That's where peace lives. And when you practice that every day, even for a few minutes, it compounds. It builds a foundation so strong that stress no longer shakes you the way it used to. There will always be things outside your control, but how you breathe, how you focus, and how you respond, that's yours. And in a noisy, demanding, overstimulated world, that kind of control is not just a skill, it's a gift. Give yourself that gift. Slow down, pay attention, come back to your breath. In that space, you'll find calm. In that calm, you'll find clarity. And in that clarity, you'll find the strength to live well. Chapter 3. Strengthen your mind by expecting nothing from others. One of the quietest sources of pain in life is the gap between what we expect from others and what they actually do. We often carry unspoken hopes, silent assumptions, and emotional attachments to how people should treat us. We expect them to understand us without explaining, to be kind when we feel vulnerable, to apologize when they've hurt us, to show up without reminders, to listen deeply, to agree with our point of view, to care as much as we do. And when they don't, we feel disappointed, frustrated, even betrayed. But what if you could free your mind from all of that? What if you could live your life without needing anything from anyone to be at peace? That's not indifference. That's strength. Strengthening your mind begins with one decision: to stop building your emotional world on what others say or do. This doesn't mean you shut people out or stop caring. It means you stop expecting them to be the source of your stability. People are unpredictable. Their moods shift. Their priorities change. Their values don't always match yours. Trying to shape your peace based on someone else's behavior is like trying to stand still on moving ground. It will never hold. Expecting nothing does not make you bitter. It makes you free. You become someone who chooses to give, not because you're trying to get something back, but because giving aligns with your values. You choose to speak kindly, even when others don't. You choose to listen, even when you're not heard. You choose to stay calm, even when others are chaotic. This is not weakness or passivity. It's the result of a deeply trained mind, one that sees clearly and does not tie its worth to anyone else's reaction. When you expect others to act a certain way, you hand over your power. You say, "My peace depends on how you treat me." But the truth is, people will treat you however they've learned to treat others. Some will be warm, some will be distant, some will care, others will not. If your happiness rises and falls based on this, you'll always be at the mercy of things outside your control. But when you take that power back and say, "I don't expect you to meet my needs, I meet them myself," you begin to build a foundation of emotional independence. Start noticing where your expectations show up. Do you feel annoyed when someone doesn't message you back quickly? Do you feel let down when your effort goes unnoticed? Do you feel offended when someone forgets something important to you? These are all signs that a part of your mind is still reaching outward for validation. And every time you reach out and don't get what you hoped for, you weaken your emotional center. The goal is not to feel nothing, but to train yourself to be okay, even when others fall short. Because they will often. And your peace should never depend on their performance. Strength comes from choosing your response, not reacting to theirs. If someone is cold, you don't need to mirror them. If someone is rude, you don't need to engage. If someone is absent, you don't need to chase. Instead, turn inward. Ask yourself, what do I need to feel grounded right now? Not what should they have done differently. The more you answer that question with calm and clarity, the less attached you become to how others behave, and the more stable you feel, regardless of the situation. You begin to see people as they are, not as you wish they would be. This is a powerful shift, because much of our suffering comes from trying to make people fit into roles they never agreed to play. You may want someone to be more supportive, more emotionally available, more thoughtful, more consistent, but they might not be capable of that, or they might not value the same things you do. When you release the expectation, you stop trying to fix them, you stop waiting, you stop suffering in silence, and you start focusing on your own growth. There's a peace that comes with no longer needing to be understood. You say what you need to say, and whether or not they understand it is no longer your concern. You live with integrity, and whether or not others recognize it doesn't matter. You stay true to your path, and whether or not others walk beside you no longer defines its value. This kind of mental discipline doesn't come from reading, it comes from practice. You learn moment by moment to detach your peace from the reactions of others. You will be tested. People will ignore you, dismiss you, forget you. Some will take more than they give. Some will misunderstand you completely, but you don't rise above by trying to control them. You rise above by returning to yourself. You ask, what kind of person do I want to be? And you act from that. Not from fear, not from wounded pride, not from expectation, but from intention. That's where the mind gets stronger. Not by avoiding disappointment, but by facing it and remaining steady. You can still have standards. You can still choose who you spend time with. Expecting nothing doesn't mean tolerating anything. It means you choose your company wisely, but without bitterness. You can say, this behavior doesn't work for me, and walk away, not because you expect better, but because you require peace. Your standards are not demands, they are boundaries rooted in self-respect. And when those boundaries are clear, your expectations fade. You're no longer waiting for people to rise to them. You're simply choosing who gets access based on how they show up. The people who truly respect you won't need to be managed. They'll listen because they care. They'll show up because they want to. But even if they don't, your peace remains. Because you've trained your mind not to rely on anyone to complete your sense of worth. That's real freedom. That's how you stay calm in a world that is rarely fair. You've stopped expecting fairness, and you've started focusing on your own strength. Every time you catch yourself thinking, they should have, pause. That thought is a trap. Replace it with, what can I control right now? That one shift can change your life. It puts the focus back where it belongs, on your actions, your values, your choices. And from that place, you begin to build a mind that's not just calm, but unshakable. You no longer need praise to feel confident. You no longer need agreement to feel secure. You no longer need attention to feel valued. You begin to live with a deeper sense of purpose, one that isn't affected by the moods or mistakes of others. And slowly you find yourself becoming someone you trust. Someone who doesn't just talk about peace, but lives it every day, in every situation, regardless of what others do. This is not about lowering your standards or becoming numb. It's about rising above the constant emotional roller coaster that comes from expecting people to meet your unspoken needs. It's about giving yourself what you used to beg for. It's about creating an inner world that stays clear and calm even when the outside world is noisy. And that level of clarity once built cannot be shaken by anyone. Expect nothing, give freely. Set boundaries, speak clearly, let people be who they are, and no matter what happens, stay rooted in who you are. That is how you strengthen your mind, not through control, but through clarity, not through avoidance, but through presence, and not through hoping others will change, but through changing the way you show up for yourself. Chapter 4. Take full ownership of every emotional response daily. Every emotion you feel is your own. No matter who triggered it or what caused it, the final responsibility for what you feel belongs to you. This may seem unfair at first, especially when others behave poorly, say hurtful things, or create unnecessary stress in your life. But once you accept that your emotional state is not in their hands, everything changes. You stop blaming, you stop chasing apologies, and you stop giving others the ability to decide how you feel. You begin to realize that every emotional reaction is a choice, and the moment you take ownership of it, you reclaim your peace. Most people move through life reacting instead of responding. They allow situations and people to dictate their moods. Someone cuts them off in traffic, and they feel rage. Someone forgets to thank them, and they feel hurt. Someone disagrees with them, and they feel insulted. This reactive way of living is exhausting. It creates a cycle where you constantly feel like you're being pushed and pulled by forces outside of your control. But emotions don't work that way. They don't just happen to you. They rise from within you based on how you interpret what's happening, and you can change that interpretation. Taking ownership doesn't mean pretending to be fine when you're not. It means being honest with yourself about what you feel and why you feel it, without blaming anyone else for it. If you're angry, ask yourself what expectation was violated. If you're jealous, ask what part of you feels lacking. If you're anxious, ask what story you're telling yourself about the future. Every emotion is a message, but it's your job to read it clearly and respond with awareness instead of blame. No one can make you feel anything without your permission. That's not a slogan. That's a skill. It takes practice to develop the kind of mental discipline where you pause before reacting, where you observe what you're feeling without being consumed by it, where you decide how you want to respond instead of defaulting to old habits. But that skill is worth everything, because once you have it, you're no longer living at the mercy of situations. You're choosing how you feel, how you act, and how you move forward. Begin with small moments. Notice when your heart rate increases during a tense conversation. Pay attention when your body tightens in frustration. Feel the tension in your jaw when someone interrupts you. In each of these moments, remind yourself that what you're feeling is yours. No one else owns it. You can't control how others act, but you can control how long you let their behavior live inside your mind. And that decision, made again and again, builds emotional resilience. Emotions are not wrong or bad. They are signals, but you don't have to act on all of them. Just because you feel disrespected doesn't mean you have to lash out. Just because you feel sad doesn't mean you have to retreat. Just because you feel annoyed doesn't mean you have to argue. Emotions are powerful, but they are not permanent. They pass through you like waves if you let them. The trouble begins when you grab onto them, justify them, or turn them into your identity. You are not your anger. You are not your fear. You are the one who decides what those feelings become. When you own your emotional response, you stop giving others the script to your life. You stop waiting for someone to behave a certain way, so you can finally feel okay. You stop needing things to go your way to stay balanced. Instead, you start building a core that stays steady, regardless of the outside noise. This is what it means to be emotionally strong, not emotionless, but grounded. Not reactive, but aware. Not numb, but in control. Sometimes people will do things that genuinely hurt. They'll say cruel things, betray your trust, or walk away without explanation. Taking ownership doesn't mean excusing their behavior. It means recognizing that what they did is on them. And what you feel afterward is yours to manage. You can feel the pain without adding extra suffering through blame or resentment. You can choose healing over bitterness. You can choose clarity over chaos. And you can do it without needing them to fix anything. This level of personal responsibility is uncomfortable because it removes the easy way out. It means you can't say, "I feel this way because of them," and be done with it. It forces you to look deeper, to ask, what inside me was touched by this? What belief, fear, or memory is being triggered? And when you answer those questions, you grow. You stop repeating the same emotional patterns. You stop getting caught in the same arguments. You stop feeling powerless, because now you understand that the trigger is external, but the reaction is internal, and the internal is where your work begins. Taking full ownership also means refusing to carry emotions that don't belong to you. If someone is projecting their pain onto you, you don't have to absorb it. If someone is in a bad mood and takes it out on you, you don't have to internalize it. You are responsible for your emotions, and they are responsible for theirs. Don't try to fix what they won't face. Don't take on guilt that isn't yours. Draw a line where your emotional territory ends and someone else's begins. This clarity protects your energy and keeps your focus where it belongs, on your own development. You will never be able to control how life unfolds. People will challenge you. Stress will come. Uncertainty will rise. But you can train yourself to respond from a place of strength. You can learn to slow down, to breathe, to reflect before reacting. You can build a life where emotions are not random storms, but navigable currents. And you do that one choice at a time, by pausing, by understanding, and by owning what you feel. This is how you take back your power, not by shutting off your emotions, but by learning to lead them, not by suppressing your reactions, but by guiding them, not by blaming the world, but by facing yourself. The more you do this, the more you trust your ability to stay centered. The more you respond with calm, the more control you have over your direction. And the more consistent you become, the more peace you create around you. Peace is not the absence of emotion, it is the presence of clarity. And clarity comes when you stop giving away your emotional control. Every day is a new chance to own what you feel. Every conversation is an opportunity to stay grounded. Every challenge is a test of your discipline. And with every choice to take ownership, you become stronger, clearer, and more at peace with who you are. Nothing in your life needs to change for you to begin. You don't need the world to be quiet. You don't need everyone to be kind. You just need to decide that your emotional world belongs to you. And you are ready to take full responsibility for it. That is the beginning of true inner strength. Chapter 5. Train your focus to stay on what matters most. Most of what you experience every day is a test of where you put your attention. The way your life feels is not always about what happens, but about what you choose to notice and what you choose to ignore. In a world filled with noise, distraction is the easiest path. But distraction is the thief of clarity. It pulls your attention in 100 directions, and each one takes a piece of your energy. To live well, to grow stronger, to stay centered, you must train your focus to stay locked on what truly matters, what aligns with your values, your purpose, and your peace. There is a constant battle between what grabs your attention and what deserves it. You can spend the day reacting to every message, every opinion, every minor inconvenience, or you can build the discipline to return to your priorities. That decision must be made repeatedly, not once. The ability to focus on what's essential isn't a trait you're born with. It's a skill you develop through deliberate effort. You sharpen it every time you pause before responding, every time you say no to something tempting but pointless, every time you let go of what's urgent in favor of what's important. To train your focus, start by getting clear on what matters most to you. Not just in words, but in practice. Who do you want to be? What do you want to give your time, energy, and attention to? What brings you peace, growth, or meaning? When you answer these questions honestly, you create a compass that keeps you from drifting. Without this clarity, you'll be pulled into every passing frustration, every shallow conversation, every endless scroll that offers escape but leaves you feeling empty. Focus begins where clarity exists. Without knowing what matters, you'll end up giving everything equal importance. And nothing meaningful can grow in a mind that treats noise and purpose the same. You are responsible for guarding your attention. Just like you would lock the doors to your home, you must protect your mental space from unwanted intrusions. That means being intentional about what you watch, what you listen to, what you read, and who you spend time with. If something constantly pulls you away from your goals, your peace, or your values, it is not neutral. It is a drain, and the longer you entertain it, the harder it becomes to concentrate on what truly deserves your mind. Every time you check your phone without intention, you weaken your ability to stay present. Every time you indulge in distractions, you train your brain to chase stimulation instead of focus. This is not harmless. It builds a pattern where the mind becomes restless, easily bored, constantly hungry for the next thing. To reverse that, you need to teach your mind to stay with one thing longer. That means finishing what you start, giving your full attention to one conversation, sitting in silence without reaching for something to fill it. Focus is not just a mental discipline, it's a way of being. A way of honoring what you value by refusing to treat it casually. There will always be noise. There will always be someone who wants your attention. Something that begs for your reaction. Something loud trying to convince you it's urgent. Your power comes from being able to hear it without following it. Just because something is loud doesn't mean it matters. Just because it feels urgent doesn't mean it's important. Focus isn't about ignoring everything else. It's about not getting lost in what doesn't serve your growth. When someone tries to provoke you, focus on your peace. When life throws you into discomfort, focus on the lesson. When your plans fall apart, focus on your ability to adapt. And when everything seems to be demanding your energy, focus on what will actually make your life better 5 years from now. These small choices, repeated daily, sharpen your ability to stay aligned with your purpose. That is how you stop reacting to the world and start directing your path through it. You don't need more time, you need more focus. Time without focus is wasted. Focus without time is still powerful. One moment of pure attention is worth more than hours of scattered activity. When your mind is fully present, you see things others miss. You hear what others don't. You connect deeper. You act more deliberately. You make fewer mistakes. The quality of your focus becomes the quality of your day, and your days become the foundation of your life. Train yourself to recognize when your mind is drifting. Notice when you're being pulled into arguments that don't matter, when you're replaying the same complaint for the 5th time, when you're reacting to something that has no real effect on your life. That's your signal to return. Bring your attention back to what builds you, not what drains you. Focus is not just what you do, it's what you stop doing. You stop chasing validation, you stop replaying negativity, you stop trying to control what isn't yours to control. Many people live in a constant state of distraction and then wonder why they feel disconnected anxious or unfulfilled. They try to fix the symptoms without seeing the cause. But once you decide to narrow your attention and live with deliberate focus, you start to feel different. You begin to move slower but more surely. You respond instead of reacting. You simplify without feeling like you're missing out. You build instead of bouncing. And that brings a sense of grounded strength that no chaos can shake. The world will always try to scatter your energy, but the choice to reclaim it is yours. If you wait until life is quiet to focus, you'll be waiting forever. Focus is what brings quiet. Focus is what calms the mind, aligns your actions, and clears the path forward. It turns anxiety into direction. It transforms confusion into purpose. And it helps you show up fully, not as someone rushing through the day, but as someone rooted in what matters. Every time you choose focus, you're making a powerful statement that your attention is valuable, that your time is limited, and that your energy will not be wasted. You're not giving in to distractions. You're not letting every emotion lead you. You're not letting the world decide what's important. You are deciding. You are leading your life with clarity. And that choice, made consistently, becomes the foundation of peace, growth, and true fulfillment. Chapter 6. Let go. Quickly by forgiving without needing an apology. Holding on to pain often feels like a form of protection. We think if we keep the memory close, if we replay the offense, if we hold the wound tightly, we'll never be hurt like that again. But what actually happens is that the pain we carry begins to shape us. It becomes a filter for how we see people, how we expect life to unfold, how we handle the future. And the truth is, the weight of resentment doesn't punish the person who wronged you. It punishes you. Every moment you carry someone else's offense, you lose part of your own freedom. Forgiveness without an apology is one of the most powerful choices you can make because it gives you back control. It says, you may have caused pain, but you no longer have power here. You may never take responsibility, but I no longer need you to. You may not change, but I am done carrying the emotional cost of your actions. Forgiveness, in its truest form, is not for them. It's for your own peace of mind. It's a decision to release yourself from the mental loop that keeps you stuck in anger, in disappointment, in betrayal. Letting go is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is knowing that you deserve to move forward with a clear mind and an open heart regardless of who caused the harm. The moment you stop waiting for an apology is the moment you start healing. That apology you're waiting for may never come. The person who hurt you may not even understand what they did. They might deny it, ignore it, or act like nothing happened. And if you tie your peace to their awareness, their growth, or their remorse, you hand them the keys to your well-being. You end up sitting in a prison you never deserved, all because you're waiting for someone else to unlock the door. But the truth is, you can walk out at any time. Forgiveness is that walk. It's the decision to stop arguing with the past and start choosing peace today. This isn't about pretending it didn't hurt. It's not about excusing bad behavior. It's not about making what happened okay. Forgiveness doesn't deny reality. It reclaims it. Says, yes, it happened. Yes, it hurt. But no, I won't let it shape who I am anymore. I will not be bitter. I will not stay angry. I will not carry a grudge that poisons my present. I will not be defined by what I didn't receive. I choose to live free. And that means releasing the need to be made whole by someone who may never offer it. Forgiveness without an apology is about emotional self-respect. It's choosing to live without depending on someone else's accountability. And that is incredibly powerful, because people are unpredictable. Some will never see your side. Some will never be sorry. Some will never be capable of the maturity it takes to own what they've done. But that doesn't mean you have to carry their shortcomings as your burden. You are not obligated to feel resentment forever. You are not required to wait for justice in order to move on. You can let go, because peace matters more than proving a point. Letting go quickly is a discipline. It doesn't mean you weren't hurt deeply. It means you've chosen not to let the pain grow roots. The longer you dwell on what happened, the more space it takes in your mind. The more you replay the insult, the more it becomes part of your identity. The more you tie your sense of closure to someone else's behavior, the more you delay your own growth. You don't need them to acknowledge it, you need to release it. That release is your gift yourself. A clean slate for your emotions, your thoughts, and your future. When you forgive quickly, you create space for something better. You're not wasting hours or days carrying conversations that never happened, building arguments in your mind, imagining revenge or rehearsing anger. You're not filling your mental energy with battles from yesterday. Instead, you're staying present. You're using that space to focus on what brings strength, joy, peace, and progress. You're choosing clarity over chaos. That decision changes how you sleep, how you speak, how you show up to the people who actually value you. Sometimes we think if we forgive too quickly, we're letting people get away with things. But the truth is, your silence or your resentment won't teach them a lesson. Some people never learn. Some don't care. Others may simply not have the self-awareness to see their impact. But if your goal is peace, not punishment, you can forgive and move on regardless of their growth. That's your lesson. That's your progress. You become stronger, lighter, more unshakable. Not because the world became fair, but because you stopped waiting for fairness to heal you. The more you practice forgiving without needing closure, the more resilient you become. You realize that your emotions are yours to manage. Your peace is not a negotiation. Your healing does not require permission. You set yourself free by remembering that you always have a choice. The past may not change, but how you relate to it can. You can decide that your future deserves more space than your wounds. You can decide that no one's lack of apology is worth your suffering. You can decide that letting go is not losing, it's winning the battle for your own inner life. There's no need to announce it. You don't have to tell them you've forgiven them. You don't need them to understand what you've done. Forgiveness is quiet, personal, internal. It's a shift in how you feel when you think about them. It's a softening of the mind, a release of tension in your chest, a return to yourself. It's the freedom to look forward without dragging old weight behind you. That freedom is available now. Not someday when they come around, but the moment you decide your energy is too valuable to waste on what's already over. You're not letting them off the hook. You're taking yourself off the hook. You're choosing to stop suffering from something that already ended. You're choosing to be free in a world where many are still trapped by the things they can't let go of. That choice makes you powerful. It makes you clear. It makes you wise. You are not your pain. You are not what happened to you. You are what you choose to become now. And when you forgive without being asked, you are saying, I choose freedom. I choose peace. I choose to move forward, light, clear, and strong. Chapter 7. Protect your peace by setting clear personal boundaries. Your peace is not something others are responsible for. It's yours to protect, not theirs to preserve. The moment you start expecting others to treat your well-being as their priority, you place your emotional safety in their hands, and that's a fragile place to live. Real peace comes when you learn how to guard it with boundaries that are firm, respectful, and consistent. Boundaries are not walls to shut others out. They are lines of clarity that define what you will and will not accept in your life. They are a form of self-respect and a signal that your inner world matters just as much as anyone else's expectations. Many people go through life drained and frustrated, not because they lack kindness or patience, but because they've never learned how to draw the line where their peace ends and someone else's chaos begins. They allow guilt, fear of rejection, or a desire to please others to override their own needs. They say yes when their heart says no. They overextend, overgive, and overexplain, and then wonder why they feel so depleted. The truth is, you can't live in peace if you constantly make others comfortable at your own expense. Boundaries are the remedy for that exhaustion. Setting a boundary is not an act of anger, it's an act of clarity. You don't need to raise your voice or defend your decision. You just need to decide what's true for you and act accordingly. A boundary doesn't require permission to be valid. It stands on its own, because your life belongs to you. Whether you're deciding how much time to give, what kind of energy to accept, or which conversations you'll engage in, the power is in knowing where you stand and holding to it. You don't need to be harsh to be clear. You just need to stop abandoning yourself to avoid discomfort. The resistance to boundaries often comes from the fear of conflict. You worry that if you draw a line, someone will get upset, misunderstand you, or withdraw their affection. But if the price of keeping someone close is betraying your peace, then you're paying too much. You weren't born to be liked by everyone. You were born to live in alignment with your own values. Those who truly care for you will respect the limits you set. Those who don't may leave, but what you lose in approval, you gain in freedom. Peace doesn't come from pleasing people. It comes from being true to yourself. Protecting your peace means making hard decisions. It means turning off the phone when your energy is low, even if someone expects you to be available. It means declining invitations that feel draining, even if others take it personally. It means stepping away from conversations that spiral into negativity. It means not participating in emotional tug-of-wars, guilt trips, or endless arguments that go nowhere. You don't have to prove your point. You don't have to convince anyone of your worth. You just have to know when to disengage. That's not cold, it's wise. Boundaries require consistency. One of the biggest mistakes people make is setting a boundary and then backing down when it's tested. But every time you let someone cross your line without consequence, you teach them that your peace is negotiable. You show them that your words are flexible and your self-respect is conditional. That's how resentment builds. If you want others to take your boundaries seriously, you must take them seriously first. Hold them not with hostility, but with quiet confidence. You don't have to explain the same thing over and over. Just act in alignment with your limit. Peace is not the absence of challenges. It's the presence of strength. And strength comes from knowing what is yours to carry and what is not. You don't have to fix everything. You don't have to absorb everyone's emotion. You don't have to feel responsible for how people react when you take care of yourself. Their response is their responsibility. Your job is to stay grounded in what you know brings you balance, even if others don't understand. Some people may call you selfish when you choose yourself. That's okay. You're not here to be understood by everyone. You're here to live in a way that honors your soul. Boundaries aren't just about other people. They're also about you. Sometimes the person you need boundaries with the most is yourself. Are you staying up late, sacrificing your sleep for distractions that don't serve you? Are you saying yes to tasks that don't align with your priorities? Are you allowing your thoughts to run wild, replaying arguments or anticipating rejection? Mental boundaries are just as important as physical ones. You must learn to protect your mind from noise, from overthinking, from habits that leave you drained. That's how you cultivate lasting peace. It takes time to get comfortable with boundaries, especially if you're used to putting others first. But with each boundary you set, you grow stronger. You begin to see that your peace is not something others can give or take. It's something you claim. You begin to trust yourself more, speak more honestly, and live more freely. You no longer need everyone to agree with you. You no longer feel guilty for resting. You no longer apologize for being clear. You become someone who values your energy enough to use it wisely. That's a version of you that's hard to disturb. You are not responsible for teaching others how to treat you with long lectures or repeated warnings. You are responsible for showing them through action. If someone constantly crosses the same line, stop expecting them to change. Start making different choices. Limit your exposure. Change the subject. Walk away. Silence can be a boundary too. Distance can be a form of peacekeeping. You don't need drama to make a point. You just need discipline. You don't need confrontation to protect yourself. You just need to know where your peace ends and where compromise begins. Peace is not a luxury. It's a necessity. It affects your health, your focus, your relationships, and your ability to enjoy life. The world will always have noise. People will always have opinions. Situations will always test your calm. But your internal world doesn't have to be shaken every time the external world moves. When you protect your peace, you become unshakable. You stop reacting to everything. You start responding with purpose. You start choosing what gets your time, your attention, your emotion. That choice is your power. And that power builds a life where peace isn't occasional. It's your foundation. Chapter 8. Practice emotional discipline through silence and reflection. True emotional strength is not found in how loudly you speak or how quickly you respond. It reveals itself in how well you can hold your tongue when your emotions are high, how patiently you can sit with your discomfort, and how deeply you can reflect before reacting. Most people live in constant reaction mode. A word, a look, a moment of disappointment. These things spark impulsive responses, and before they know it, they've poured energy into conflict, regret, or worry. But the power you gain when you begin practicing silence and reflection is immeasurable. It is not suppression. It is control. It is a choice to pause, to evaluate, and to respond from a place of clarity rather than chaos. Silence is not weakness. It is restraint. It allows you to step outside the intensity of the moment and observe what's really going on. Most of what upsets us isn't the event itself, it's the story we tell ourselves about what it means. In silence, that story slows down. You begin to see that the anger you feel may not be about the person in front of you at all. The frustration may stem from something deeper, something unresolved within yourself. When you stop speaking just to be heard, and instead start listening to your own inner responses, you begin to uncover the truth beneath your surface reactions. Reflection doesn't mean overthinking. It means becoming a quiet witness to your own inner world. You learn to ask yourself, what exactly am I feeling? Why does this bother me? What does this trigger say about my values, my wounds, my expectations? Instead of exploding, you explore, you look inward, not outward. You stop giving others the remote control to your emotions and begin managing them from within. That is emotional discipline, not the absence of feelings, but the ability to navigate them with intention. When you start practicing emotional discipline, you notice that your relationships change. You're no longer pulled into unnecessary arguments. You don't take the bait when someone tries to provoke you. You don't feel the urge to defend yourself every time you're misunderstood. You realize that peace is not won by winning battles. It's preserved by choosing which battles are even worth your time. In silence, you find freedom from needing to be right. In reflection, you find the wisdom to be still when stillness is power. This kind of discipline requires patience. At first, the silence may feel uncomfortable. Your ego might want to speak up, to argue, to correct, to justify. But every time you sit through that discomfort and remain calm, you are training yourself to respond with wisdom. You are no longer at the mercy of your impulses. You begin to see the space between stimulus and response, the space where peace lives. That space grows every time you use it. You stop giving energy to things that don't deserve a reaction. Silence and reflection are not passive, they are active tools. When someone says something that offends you, you don't need to react immediately. You can pause, you can breathe, you can say nothing at all. Not everything needs an answer. Not every emotion needs an outlet in the moment it arises. Let your emotions pass through you like waves, without pulling you under. Let your thoughts settle before you decide what to do next. This is not avoidance, it's clarity. You don't have to respond to every message right away. You don't need to attend every argument you're invited to. You don't need to raise your voice to prove your worth. You don't need to retaliate to regain your power. Real strength is subtle. It's the quiet moment where you choose self-control over reaction. It's the pause that changes the outcome. It's the breath you take before you speak. It's the discipline to wait until you're no longer reacting from a place of pain. Emotional discipline means creating inner rules for how you engage with the world. You decide what kind of energy you allow into your space. You choose what tone you speak in, regardless of how others behave. You decide not to mirror negativity. You refuse to match someone's chaos. You learn that your response is your responsibility, and that no one can make you lose your peace, unless you hand it over. It's not about denying your emotions, it's about guiding them. Sometimes, silence is the best answer. Not because you have nothing to say, but because what needs to be said doesn't need to be said now or at all. Sometimes, reflection is more productive than action. You can sit with your thoughts, let them settle, and find that most things lose their power when you don't feed them. The conflict you thought was urgent feels smaller in the light of calm. The offense you carried feels lighter when you realize it came from someone else's pain, not your truth. Emotional discipline also builds confidence. When you stop reacting to everything, you begin to feel more in control of your life. You're no longer tossed around by every interaction. You stand steady, knowing that you have the inner tools to manage yourself. That steadiness shows up in your posture, in your presence, in your words. You become someone who doesn't need to shout to be strong. You become someone whose silence speaks volumes. Practicing emotional discipline doesn't mean you never express yourself. It means you express yourself with thoughtfulness, not aggression. You speak from a centered place, not a triggered one. You act with purpose, not out of habit. You handle your emotions before they handle you. You become someone who reflects first, speaks second, and reacts rarely. That kind of presence is rare in a world that prizes speed and noise, and it makes you stand out in the best way. There will always be moments that test your calm. People will say the wrong thing. Situations will provoke you. Life will throw unexpected stress in your path. But the more you practice silence and reflection, the less those moments shake you. You begin to carry your calm with you. Instead of trying to find it after the damage is done, you stop regretting your words. You stop apologizing for outbursts. You stop cleaning up messes you never had to make. That is the power of emotional discipline. It prevents pain before it begins. You may not be able to control what others do, but you can always control what you do next. And that begins with a pause, a breath, a quiet moment of awareness. From that space you decide the kind of life you want to live, and the kind of person you want to be. You realize that peace is not passive. It is created through consistent practice, through moments where you choose reflection over reaction, and through the silent strength that grows each time you respond with intention instead of impulse. Chapter 9. Grow your patience by choosing slow over fast reactions. Patience is not merely the ability to wait, It is the capacity to maintain composure and clarity while waiting. Choosing to respond slowly instead of reacting instantly builds strength that transforms your entire experience of life. In a world obsessed with speed, the habit of quick reactions can lead to mistakes, misunderstandings, and regrets. Slow responses allow for reflection and better decisions. The simple act of slowing down your reaction creates space for awareness, understanding, and calm that preserves your peace and empowers your choices. Immediate reactions are often driven by instinct and emotions rather than thoughtful consideration. When faced with challenging situations, the urge to respond instantly might feel natural, but that response is rarely the wisest. Pausing to breathe before you answer gives you a chance to filter through your emotions and choose the response that aligns with your values. This pause is where patience grows. Patience is not passive waiting. It is an active process of self-control and mindful decision-making. It strengthens your resilience by teaching you to endure tension without letting it control you. The brain and body have built-in responses that push for fast reactions, especially in moments of stress or conflict. That fight-or-flight mode serves a purpose, but is often misused in everyday interaction. When you decide to choose slow over fast, you override this automatic response with conscious control. You create a mental habit that rejects impulsivity. The more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. You reprogram your mind to value thoughtfulness over haste. This change is fundamental to emotional maturity and peace. Patience cultivated through slow reactions reduces misunderstandings. Many conflicts escalate because people respond before fully grasping what is happening. A quick answer can be based on incomplete information or assumption. When you delay your response, you give yourself time to listen carefully and understand others better. This deeper comprehension often softens your emotional charge. You stop reacting to your assumptions and start engaging with reality. The clarity gained by slowing down prevents unnecessary arguments and fosters healthier relationships. Choosing slow responses also helps you avoid regrets. When you act hastily, you might say or do things you later wish you had. Those moments of impulsive anger or frustration can damage relationships and your own peace of mind. Learning to pause before you respond acts as a safeguard. It allows you to weigh the consequences of your words and actions. This protective layer of patience preserves your integrity and self-respect. Each time you choose slow over fast, you strengthen your ability to act with wisdom and care. Chapter 9. Grow your patience by choosing slow over fast reactions. Patience is not merely the ability to wait. It is the capacity to maintain composure and clarity while waiting. Choosing to respond slowly instead of reacting instantly builds strength that transforms your entire experience of life. In a world obsessed with speed, the habit of quick reactions can lead to mistakes, misunderstandings, and regrets. Slow responses allow for reflection and better decisions. The simple act of slowing down your reaction creates space for awareness, understanding, and calm that preserves your peace and empowers your choices. Immediate reactions are often driven by instinct and emotions rather than thoughtful consideration. When faced with challenging situations, the urge to respond instantly might feel natural, but that response is rarely the wisest. Pausing to breathe before you answer gives you a chance to filter through your emotions and choose the response that aligns with your values. This pause is where patience grows. Patience is not passive waiting, it is an active process of self-control and mindful decision-making. It strengthens your resilience by teaching you to endure tension without letting it control you. The brain and body have built-in responses that push for fast reactions, especially in moments of stress or conflict. That fight-or-flight mode serves a purpose, but is often misused in everyday interactions. When you decide to choose slow over fast, you override this automatic response with conscious control. You create a mental habit that rejects impulsivity. The more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. You reprogram your mind to value thoughtfulness over haste. This change is fundamental to emotional maturity and peace. Patience cultivated through slow reactions reduces misunderstandings. Many conflicts escalate because people respond before fully grasping what is happening. A quick answer can be based on incomplete information or assumptions. When you delay your response, you give yourself time to listen carefully and understand others better. This deeper comprehension often softens your emotional charge. You stop reacting to your assumptions and start engaging with reality. The clarity gained by slowing down prevents unnecessary arguments and fosters healthier relationships. Choosing slow responses also helps you avoid regrets. When you act hastily, you might say or do things you later wish you hadn't. Those moments of impulsive anger or frustration can damage relationships and your own peace of mind. Learning to pause before you respond acts as a safeguard. It allows you to weigh the consequences of your words and actions. This protective layer of patience preserves your integrity and self-respect. Each time you choose slow over fast, you strengthen your ability to act with wisdom and care. Growing patience through slower reactions improves your emotional resilience. When you react quickly, your emotions often surge uncontrollably. Slow responses, however, give your emotions time to settle. This gives you better control over your feelings and reduces emotional exhaustion. Instead of being tossed around by every trigger, you become steady and grounded. You learn to meet challenges with calmness rather than agitation. This steady presence not only benefits you, but also influences those around you positively. Your calm becomes a source of strength in tense situations. Slow responses require practice and commitment. It's easy to fall back into old habits when faced with pressure or provocation. Developing patience means training yourself daily to choose awareness over impulse. Start by noticing your triggers and how quickly you tend to react. When you feel the urge to respond immediately, remind yourself to take a breath and count to 3. This small action interrupts automatic reactions and gives you a moment to assess your feelings and thoughts. Over time, this pause will grow longer and your responses will become more deliberate. Mindfulness techniques support this practice well. Being present in the moment helps you recognize emotional surges before they turn into reactions. When you feel tension rising, grounding yourself in the here and now prevents impulsivity. Simple methods like focusing on your breath or feeling your feet on the ground bring you back to balance. This awareness builds the foundation for patience because you become more attuned to your internal state and less driven by immediate emotions. Choosing slow responses also means accepting uncertainty and discomfort. Patience is often tested when we want quick answers or results. In relationships or challenging conversations, waiting to respond thoughtfully can feel like a risk. There is a temptation to defend yourself or push your point immediately. However, the discomfort you feel during this pause is temporary and necessary. It allows you to gain perspective and avoid escalating conflicts. The discomfort of waiting is far less harmful than the pain caused by hasty words or actions. This practice enhances your decision-making skills. When you slow down your reactions, you gain time to consider different perspectives and potential outcomes. You begin to see options you might have missed in the rush to respond. This broader view helps you make wiser choices that align with your long-term goals rather than short-term emotions. It's a shift from reactive living to intentional living. Patience gives you the power to shape your life with thoughtful actions instead of impulsive reactions. Your environment can either support or hinder your ability to practice patience. Technology and social media, for example, encourage instant responses and gratification. It's important to create boundaries that protect your practice. Limiting notifications, avoiding multitasking, and dedicating time for quiet reflection help cultivate slower, more deliberate thinking. Choose environments that promote calmness and discourage rushing. This external support reinforces your internal commitment to patience. You also grow patience by learning from role models who exemplify it. Observe people who respond thoughtfully rather than react emotionally. Notice how they handle stress and conflict with grace. Reflect on how their patience influences their success and relationships. Let their examples inspire you to build your own patience muscle. Surrounding yourself with calm, reflective individuals helps you maintain your own slower rhythm. Building patience improves your health. Chronic stress caused by rapid reactions and heightened emotions harms your body over time. It can increase blood pressure, disrupt sleep, and weaken your immune system. Choosing slow responses lowers stress and promotes relaxation. This positive effect on your body reinforces the importance of patience as a key to overall well-being. You nurture your mind and body simultaneously by embracing slower, calmer reactions. Finally, patience brings a sense of peace and satisfaction. When you are no longer driven by the need to respond instantly, you experience freedom. Freedom from the constant pressure to prove yourself, to be right, or to win arguments. Freedom to observe life with calmness and confidence. This peaceful state is a gift you give yourself every time you choose slow over fast. It is a practice worth cultivating because it transforms your entire experience of life. It empowers you to live with intention, resilience, and grace. Chapter 10. Live each day. Proving your peace is your power. Every day offers a fresh opportunity to demonstrate the strength that comes from inner peace. Living with peace as your power means moving through the world, grounded in calm, regardless of external chaos. This peace is not a passive state, but a dynamic force that shapes your choices, interactions, and outlook. It is the quiet foundation beneath your actions, the steady current that carries you forward with clarity and purpose. When peace becomes your power, you no longer depend on outside circumstances to feel secure. Instead, you draw strength from within, and this transforms how you live each moment. True power is not found in loud words or aggressive actions. It is discovered in the stillness of a composed mind. The most influential people are those who maintain their calm when faced with challenges. Their tranquility commands respect and creates space for reason and understanding. This calm presence diffuses tension rather than escalating it. It allows for better decision-making and creates an atmosphere where solutions can flourish. By embracing peace, you step into a role of quiet leadership, guiding yourself and others without force or conflict. Each day, you have the chance to choose peace over reaction. Life will test you with frustrations, disappointments, and provocations, but your response is always within your control. When irritation arises, the impulse might be to lash out or withdraw. Instead, practicing peace means responding thoughtfully and with grace. This choice is a declaration of your power. It shows that you are not ruled by circumstances or emotions, but by your commitment to inner strength. Living this way builds resilience, making you less vulnerable to the ups and downs that everyone faces. Peace as power means prioritizing your mental and emotional well-being. This starts by protecting your mind from unnecessary turmoil. Not every battle requires your energy. Learning to let go of things beyond your control preserves your calm. You create boundaries that defend your peace, refusing to allow negativity or drama to penetrate your inner world. This discipline nurtures a sense of freedom. Freedom from the exhausting cycle of stress and conflict. Freedom to focus on what truly matters in your life. Living each day in peace also means embracing acceptance. Acceptance is not resignation but a clear-eyed acknowledgement of reality. It is the willingness to face life's imperfections without resistance or denial. This attitude releases you from the struggle against things as they are. It frees your energy to engage productively with challenges instead of wasting it on frustration. Acceptance breeds a kind of strength that is unshakable. When you accept what you cannot change, your peace becomes a fortress that no external force can breach. The power of peace is amplified by your ability to remain present. When your attention is rooted in the now, you stop being swept away by worries about the past or future. Presence anchors you in reality and reduces mental noise. It allows you to fully experience life, appreciate simple joys, and respond to situations with clarity. This mindfulness deepens your peace because it connects you to what is real rather than what might be feared or hoped for. Being fully present makes peace a lived experience, not just an ideal. Your actions reflect your inner peace. When you act from calmness, your behavior becomes consistent and reliable. Others sense your stability and are drawn to it. This trust strengthens your relationships and creates harmony in your interactions. Peaceful living helps you communicate clearly and listen deeply. It fosters empathy and patience, allowing you to navigate conflicts without losing yourself. In this way, your peace radiates outward, influencing your environment and inspiring those around you to seek the same strength. Choosing peace daily requires intention and practice. It is a conscious commitment to respond rather than react, to create space rather than fill it with noise. Small rituals support this commitment. Moments of quiet reflection, mindful breathing, or simply pausing before speaking. These habits build your capacity to remain centered amid distractions and pressures. Over time, peace becomes a default mode, a natural way of being rather than a struggle to maintain. This effortless peace is a sign of mastery, a reflection of your ongoing personal growth. Living peacefully also means taking responsibility for your happiness. It is tempting to look outside for validation or satisfaction, but lasting contentment comes from within. When you cultivate peace as your power, you rely less on external approval and more on your own sense of worth. This independence strengthens your confidence and reduces anxiety. You become less reactive to criticism or praise because your foundation is internal. This freedom is empowering, allowing you to pursue your goals with calm determination. Your peace is tested when faced with adversity. Difficult moments reveal the strength of your inner calm. Choosing peace in these times is an act of courage and resilience. It shows that you have trained your mind to remain steady regardless of hardship. This steady presence becomes a source of inspiration to others. Your ability to handle life's storms without losing composure demonstrates that peace is not weakness, but a powerful force. It is a testament to your growth and a beacon of hope for those around you. Peaceful living brings clarity to your priorities. When your mind is calm, distractions fade, and your true values emerge. This clarity guides your decisions, ensuring they align with what matters most to you. You become more focused and purposeful in your actions. The energy once spent on worry or anger is redirected toward meaningful pursuits. In this way, peace empowers you to live authentically and fully. It is the foundation for a life of integrity and fulfillment. Ultimately, living each day, proving your peace is your power, is about embodying a deep truth that your inner state shapes your experience of life. When you master your peace, you master your power. This power is not about control over others, but mastery over yourself. It is the ability to face life with calm strength, to rise above distractions, and to remain grounded in your values. This inner power creates a ripple effect, improving your relationships, your work, and your well-being. It is the cornerstone of a meaningful, resilient life. By choosing peace as your power, you declare that your happiness and strength come from within. You break free from the chaos that can consume so many. You become a steady presence in a restless world. Each day is an opportunity to practice this strength and deepen your commitment to calmness. This daily proof of peace is not only a personal triumph, but a lasting legacy. It shows what is possible when discipline meets wisdom, when serenity becomes strength. Living this way is the ultimate act of self-mastery and the truest form of power you can possess.